Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm working on a 6x12 scrapbook double-page spread titled Splendor. I'll be scrapping a number of photos, and I'm working with the digital scrapbook kit Beauty on the Inside by Amber Shaw from Sweet Shop Designs. And this actually, although it is a 6x6 double-page spread, so 6x12 in reality, this could easily be transferred to a 12 by 12 double page spread. That would be then 12 by 24 obviously, but just because I'm scrapping in a small size, it's still very easily transferable into a bigger size, because I still keep like the photo sizes and stuff there, like in proportion to what would be 4 by 6 2 by 3s, and that they're smaller, but they're in proportion to what is a real scrapbook layout in 12 by 12, I mean. And I actually end up, a lot of times I do use sketches, and I just scale them down to get them to go with my size. So anyway, here I have started, I usually create a digital, like in Silhouette Studio, a digital version of this with because it's a digital scrapbook kit that I used for this. So I create the template, and then I clip the papers to this, and then I print them out, and then I can cut them out, and then I can assemble things on the page. So I start with this main strip in the center that goes all across the two pages actually, but I kept them divided because it's easier for me to print that way. The smaller something is, the more I can save paper with this way. And when I glue it down, I make sure that I don't go with the glue all the way to the edges, because I'm adding this this black wood grain paper strip, and I want to make sure I can actually add this underneath that teal greenish kind of paper. And then the same with this little paper strip. I don't glue it all the way down. I don't press it all the way down. As you see, I keep it a little popped up so that I can easily slide that under that other paper there underneath. But I find it's easier to start than to just randomly just put the paper strips down and then try to figure out how far they need to be apart so that the other paper on top is covering it and all that. And so I find it easier to start with that main strip, and then everything can be aligned with that. And I just paid attention to how I was putting things, so where I was putting the glue, so that I can easily tuck these other strips underneath. Then this was actually a full circle, I guess. Well, what I do is I do print partial circles, and then I just use my die cuts for them. So when I have circles, I just use my dies, metal dies, to cut the circles. And here I have to make sure where I put, for example, this paper, because some photos, it'll be a matte for some of the photos, but not all the photos, and so I don't want to run out of space there suddenly, so I have to kind of lay out my page before I start to actually glue everything down. And so this is actually another, just a rag die that I used for this. I just printed as a simple strip of paper, and then just used a rag type metal die to cut this out. And so I'm making sure that the papers are not exactly showing the same pattern. I am still repeating the same pattern. It's a design principle to use repetition on the page. Sometimes I wouldn't want to always use that, because that makes it boring. Repetition always is boring, but sometimes it can just help with leading the eye through the page and not getting too crazy, especially because I am working with this quite a little bit crazy pattern paper there, and I love it. I love this pattern paper, so there's nothing wrong with that, but because of that, I don't want everything else to be just really wild, so that everything gets lost in all the patterns and number of elements that are there. Now I'm putting down the title for this page, which is Splendor, and I used one of my alpha dies or die cut sets there to cut it out from black cardstock. And it is, because I'm working on a small scale 6x6 page, even the smaller dies can be quite big for a page, because obviously most dies are made for other projects like 12x12. So anyway, but it still works, and so I'm just laying it out to see where I can put it, so that it still has a good place on the page. And so that's one of the things when you work with such a small scale, is I can't put long titles or titles with subtitles too much, unless I use one of my smaller stamp sets or something. But my dies are often too big for big titles, so I have to keep the words short or something. So here I have this photo that laid out there, because this paper will go partially under the photo, but not all too much, because I still want that striped pattern to still be visible on the right side where the photos end. So I had to make sure that when I glue it down, this is going to be glued down with the photo in place so that I can see where it goes. And here I'm trying to decide which way to go first, because a lot of times I make the mistake that I start gluing things down and then I'm realizing, oh, something should have gone underneath. But here I figure out, okay, I can continue gluing even this side of the photo, because there shouldn't be anything that goes underneath. And I make sure that I align the two pages so that it's one line of photos and the photos are aligned with each other, so it's not all over the place. And then I go and can start with the title now. I don't think anything is going underneath there, so I'm starting with the letter that is closest to that center line that goes between the two pages. So, and I'm starting basically from right to left, because I can go as far as it goes, and I can still ensure that I am staying on one page. I try to make sure that my titles are like a single word is on one page and doesn't go across. I have done that, and I occasionally will do it just to mix things up a little. But in general, I do prefer to have a word not separated by the two pages, but have one word. I have frequently, and I like that, where I put one part of the title on the left side and the other part of the title on the right side. So where I kind of mirror things that way. But in general, when it's just one word, I don't like to have it go across the two pages too much. So that's why I'm starting from the right side with this word. And then I have these die cut flowers that I use. It's probably from the Pretty Perennials bundle from Stampin' Up, I'm guessing right now. I do have a bunch of different ones, so I keep losing track of what set exactly it was off, but I usually leave descriptions in the products I use in the description box below, so if you want to make sure, then you can check it out below. So here I am arranging. I love clustering, and I love using flowers and other embellishments on my pages, so I am starting to arrange, and often I forget to put something down that should have gone first, like a foliage, like leaves of a flower that should be tucked behind the flower. And while with this one, with the paper strips in the beginning, that was on purpose, because I paid careful attention to not press down the edge where I wanted to put something, to tuck something underneath. But a lot of times I full on glue something on my page, and then I realize, oh no, something should have gone underneath. So here I am actually for once paying attention to the foliage there, that it should go first. before I glue down the flower and stuff, because it makes it more difficult if I glue other things and then I have to kind of push the leaves underneath or something. So especially when it's like these bigger kind of leaves with that kind of look like branches or something. So here again with this one too, I'm starting with the foliage part, and then I have an idea where I want to glue down the flower, but first obviously this label will go, and I use my dies to cut out these labels. So a lot of things when I print them or when I set everything up on the page, I make sure the sizes correspond with my dies so that I can use my dies. I have done where I print and then have my silhouette cut everything, but I find it goes, I'm not even sure if it goes faster, but it seems easier for me to use my dies rather than my silhouette, even though I do have a lot of cut files for my silhouette as well. I've been collecting things over the years, been a long time silhouette user. From one of the, I still have a first generation silhouette, to be honest, because I got that early, so it wasn't at that point that was the only machine out there. And so I also made sure that I gave some dimension to the flowers. So I run one of my tools over the flowers and make sure they pop up a little. And then, so it's just clustering everything now, putting the leaves, adding different parts of my clusters. I have little circles that I keep adding. This is a fussy cut. That's one of the flowers, like the flower cluster that came with a digital kit, and the one in the top left corner there on that circle. So I just fussy cut that out, and that was keeping it easy because there's not much else that goes there except for this little small flower piece, that just to give it a little more dimension. I do like when my pages have some dimension, but don't go all too crazy with so much dimension that it's just so bulky. I try to avoid that because it kind of bends my pages when I put them in some mini albums or something. So I try to keep it a little dimensional but not too crazy. Then I have this journaling, and I think originally I meant to cut it in strips and put it actually where I put the title. That was my original plan, but then I didn't realize that I had already glued the title there. And I'm okay with that. I like where I decided to just keep it as a little block that goes up there. I could have used one of my labels to cut it out a little more in a prettier way, but it's okay. Because I do these things with other layouts, so to mix things up, I like to have things differ on different pages. Here's the little butterfly that I fussy cut that came with the kit. Just printed it out and fussy cut it, and adding a few more tiny little scattered pieces here and there, and that's my page done. I'm going to leave you with some more close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.